Hello again, everybody, and welcome back to another AEW Dynamite review. I'm your host, Joe True Love, for the June 7th, 2023 edition. Dang, we are in June now for these reviews. Almost halfway through, almost to my birthday. Yeah. 2023 has been solid. Really solid, I'd say, for AEW. And we're in that time in the summer months as the Forbidden Door has been opened once again. And based on the Dominion, what we got on Sunday, we got two hell of an outing, or two heck of it, two very good, I should say, two, can't wrap my words around, just two excellent outings for Forbidden Door already lined up. And between Bryan Danielson and Kazuchika Okada versus Kenny Omega, and Kenny Omega versus Will Ospreay. Dang. But we'll go over those more. Yeah. That big news for Forbidden Door has been lined up. Dynamite, though, was a good show. Good. Nothing too big. We got, well, you can fill in the air. We got a good back and forth between MJF and Adam Cole as we align possibly where MJF's new feud possibly is, or is it just a tease for now, something down the line? We got a very good main event as well between Jay White and Ricky Starks, in which Bullet Club Gold seems to be expanding, and the Guns helping out Jay White in the main event. Overall, a bit, but alas, before we get into all it, thank you for joining me. If you're new to the podcast, like, subscribe, click on subscription, notification bell, go the whole gist to look for all the content on the channel. So there you go. That's the way to start. So, Dominion. Dominion was Sunday. And in the opening match was the number one contenders, or I think it was a tournament to determine who would face Kenny Omega for the IWGP US Heavyweight title. And in the finals were Will Ospreay and Lance Archer. I've not seen the match, but it was determined that Will Ospreay beats Archer, I mean, on Sunday. Now, I was a little curious simply because but only in the sense that could they possibly have Archer win on Sunday? You do Archer versus Omega at Forbidden Door. Yes, I mean, based on the last couple of years, that doesn't really seem like a Forbidden Door match. But would they have Archer versus Omega, and then you do, because still that's a fresh matchup, and then you do Omega versus Ospreay 2 at Wembley. But the turn now they could still probably do it, maybe a rubber match, possibly at Wembley, but nonetheless, Ospreay tackled the Giant and is now on the road to get his revenge at Forbidden Door in Toronto on June 25th, which should be a hell of a rematch, if I must say, between Omega and Ospreay. I mean, the first match in the Tokyo Dome earlier this year was a hell of an outing. A match of the year, arguably people's match of the year already in the Tokyo Dome. Now we're getting part 2 in Toronto at Forbidden Door. It should be. Can they top the first match? It'd certainly be a question. We know the crowd will definitely be more into it, considering the restrictions and stuff the last couple of years with Japan. But should be fun. And based on what Don Callis said earlier, or on Wednesday, I wouldn't be surprised if Don Callis or Konosuke Takeshita or both cost Omega this rematch versus William Ospreay of the United Empire. Either way, I'm pumped. That's already a main event worthy match to get people excited for Forbidden Door. But then it got more interesting. Now, I was a little worried first because they announced Claudio had some delay in his travel. But they said that it was fine, just the match order was changed. Nonetheless, the other match was Claudio, Moxley, and Shota Umino versus the never open weight trios champions between Tomohiro Ishii, the Son Pitbull, Kazuchika Okada, and Hiroshi Tanahashi. Now, the never openweight champions got the dub in that outing. However, the BCC had a message. It was clear from Bryan Danielson that basically he's the litmus test of great, saying Okada is good, and said that Okada calls himself the Rainmaker, but you step in the ring with Bryan and you're getting into the desert and there ain't going to be no rain. Okada was quick to oblige. He said that he would fight him. He would drench that desert, and it's time to step through the forbidden door. And it was announced. Bryan versus Okada. One of the possibilities for last year seems like it'll be this year. And they're taking... Look, for those who may be upset about Bryan not wrestling as much, it's because of like this. Last year, Bryan wasn't healthy in the summer. So, and he missed Blood Guts, and he missed Forbidden Door. Now, in a way, it was kind of a blessing in disguise because it allowed a loophole or a plan B, I guess, for them to go with Claudio, for him to face Zack Sabre Jr. at Forbidden Door and be a part of Blood Guts. But nonetheless, Bryan, his only match since the Iron Man match at Revolution was Anarchy in the Arena. And now, his next match will see him at Forbidden Door for Okada. A dream match, certainly. And should be fun. Way to build Forbidden Door off the bat. Way to build. And yeah. So, with that out of the way, let's get into the review now, shall we, for the show. So, show started off interesting way. With Orange Cassidy vs Swerve Strickland AEW International Championship. Now, I said before, obviously, the repetitiveness of Orange Cassidy starting this show. It's obviously an issue. And defending the title. Now, I was curious, based on the Battle Royal, Orange Cassidy's held that title for 8 months? And here's just they build to how injured he is and such, and then, you're just is this the time? And Swerve is guy. This just made it a big feel. And this match certainly delivered. But, yeah, Cassidy, he had tape on his back, on his neck. He had his hand taped, So Swerve taunted him using his hands in his pockets. accepted his tights. He swung Cassidy around the outside. He threw his hand into the post, working on the hand of Orange Cassidy, trying to neutralize the Orange Punch. Cassidy then followed up, so managed to hit a Hurricanrana to take, or to, on the outside, to send Swerve into the guardrail, hit Suicida, back in the ring, hit a high crossbody. They were changing, and then they went to the top rope. Both of them, I would say, not the greatest looking spot. They both landed on the top turnbuckle and fell to the outside. So then, back in the ring, Swerve got separation and then hit a leaping flatliner for the get momentum back. Cassidy hit a tilt-a-whirl DT. And then for a near fall. So Swerve, he was on the apron, hit a death driver onto Cassidy on the apron. Cassidy then followed up, hit a DT on the outside on Swerve. Back in the ring, hit diving DT, then off the top for a nice looking near fall. Prince Nana on the apron. Swerve knocked him off. And then Cassidy hit the orange punch, followed with the beach rake for a good looking near fall. I was like, oh, Orange is going to retain. But Swerve kicked out. He hit a big suplex on the outside. He hit a punt kick and then followed with a Swerve stomp, but only for their fall. So then back and forth. They exchanged some roll-ups. And then Orange Cassidy got the better. 1, 2, 3. Orange Cassidy retains. I mean, I ain't gonna lie. It's been a hell of a reign for Orange Cassidy. It's been a hell of a reign. But, as I mentioned earlier, the repetitiveness of always on the show, always pretty much starting the show mostly, he won the Battle Royal at Double or Nothing, and now, look back at his show loss, now he's inking out these wins, just continuing to ink them out. I mean, like I said, I'm a fan of Orange. It's been a hell of a reign. Now, afterwards, the Mogul Embassy came after the attack on Orange, and then Lights go out. Come back on. Sting and Darby in the ring, and the Mogul Embassy flee. It's like, yeah. Orange is saved, so yeah. I'm curious if this is going to brew for a match at Forbidden Door. They announced for next week it's going to be a 8-man tag. The Mogul Embassy versus Sting, Darby, Orange, and Keith Lee. Keith Lee. We have not seen in quite a while. Who I'm not sure if he's still feuding with Swerve. I mean, his addition is a bit random, even though he was feuding with Swerve for a while. Yeah. I'd be surprised. I mean, Orange Cassidy's again on the show next week. Yep. I assume a match with Forbidden Door is going to come up. I mean, it's okay if Orange is not on the show. He doesn't have to be every week. That's the thing. That's what I think people are getting. But, yeah. Anywho, moving on. Jay White, Ricky Starks had a nice little video package back and forth. Yeah. Jay White talked about Ricky living his own hype. Also, the Road to Dynamite, or the video package was very good on that, on AEW YouTube channel as well. When Jay White talked about him selling out Madison Square Garden, the United Center, and possibly Wembley as well. I mean, we'll see. And then he said it's absolutely his era. Taking Ricky's nickname and adding it to his catchphrase, good. So then we got Bryan Danielson out for commentary for the Blackpool Comedy Club versus Chaos. Trent Barrett, Chuck Taylor, and Rocky Romero back for AEW because it's Forbidden Door season. So this is good and hectic. Trios match. Much to say. So Chaos ambush BCC before the bell. Taylor threw a chair into Moxley's face. I believe it was Claudio. And then Trent hit a superplex off the top onto Utah for a near fall. No. Yeah, they were taking it to BCC to start. Chuck hit pile driver for a near fall. Chuck Taylor actually had a very good showing in this match. He had tope on the outside. Roppongi Vice hit good little combination. A stomp to Moxley on the top. Followed a sliding knee for a near fall. And then they actually managed to hit the strong zero as well for another near fall, but was broken up by Claudio in the end. So They're all exchanging on the outside. Brent went for a moonsault off the top to the off the middle rope to the outside. Claudio caught him in mid-air with a uppercut. Nice spot. Utah had Romero in the middle ring, locking with Taylor in the middle ring, locking with elbows. Wow, this is a good exchange. So Romero caught Moxley in a cross arm breaker, but Moxley countered, went into a bulldog choke, transitioned to a rear naked choke. Romero tapped out, and the BCC got the victory. So good stuff. And then right after, the Elite were on the Jumbotron, and they had a challenge. So next week they're in Washington, D.C. Debut the first Dynamite. And they said, well, talked about beginnings. Well, if you thought Anarchy in the Arena was the end of their feud, it was only the beginning. And they requested no Bryan, no Takesha at ringside. So Bryan obliged. They said they accept. So next week it'll be the Bucks and Hangman versus Claudio, Moxley, and Utah. Interesting trios match. But no Kenny. I think I know why. He may still be recruiting, say, Ibushi or someone else for this feud. Question is, do we see Ibushi before or after Forbidden Door? I think that's the question. But we'll see. So we got a video package for Omega and Ospreay 2. Omega said he doesn't lose big matches. Ospreay said he's out for revenge. Showing clips from his press conference after first match earlier this year, saying he broken, defeated, bloody, saying what does he have to do? But Omega or Ospreay said he's out for revenge in his own town. Yeah. Can't wait for the 25th. Can't wait. MJF. You know some of it's going to come out. Whether it be... Now, at first glance when I started the segment, I thought it was going to be someone from New Japan. Just because... You know, it's Forbidden Door season. But MJF said he doesn't want to wrestle on the show. He doesn't need to. At the Double or Nothing media scrum. So, yeah. So, he buried Colorado, obviously, saying it's the most boring place in the world. Saying how it makes crack cores jealous. His quote, not mine. I have family in Denver, so yeah. Anywho, so he said, speaking of bored, he said he is because he doesn't have any more competition left, and that no one is on the level of the devil. Then we hear Adam Cole's music play. And you're like, this is interesting. So, because we were wondering, is Adam Cole's feud with Jericho done after last week? And where does he go? But at the same time, MJF's title reign is a delicate thing. Because, look, he needs to have very good competition until 2024, where he presumably is going to lose it. And then, who does he lose to? That's the question. Nonetheless, Adam Cole's music plays, he trots out. And this is how you get heat. So, Adam Cole, he did the boom gesture on the apron. And then, usually gets in the ring, ready for his chant of the crowd, Adam Cole, baby. And then, just as he was about to do it, MJF's like, cut it, we're done. Automatic heat. And you saw that smirk on Adam Cole's face. It's like, okay. So you knew this is good. So MJF was like, finally, some worthy competition. Finally. So he talked about Adam Cole's journey to get here, saying he respects Cole, that he likes him, that he did admire him and study him as part of growing to be a wrestler. Brought his film, talked about his career in Ring of Honor, saying it was boring, everybody else, but Adam Cole is what made him not change the channel. So, yeah, so they had similar journeys going to CCW, winning titles. Talked about him going to Florida, NXT, and becoming the greatest world champion in that company's history, which, I mean, it's hard to argue. In NXT, then said that is undisputed. And MJF's like, well, wordplay for you. But then he's turned into this guy. Saying that Britt Baker takes his ball with him whenever she leaves the house. Saying how he was the Panama Playboy, but now he's the Panama Game Boy. Talking about how he plays games and such pretty much all the time on Twitch. Then criticizes his body, which, I mean, social media and, then this is what was interesting. So then he said he heard a little rumor about him online, saying a certain fella from Titan Tower said he didn't see as a main event guy. And that guy was Vince McMahon, MJF, whom he loves. It says, as he stands there face to face, toe to toe, that he thinks Vince was right. So then took the microphone and he said, well, is that all you got? Saying this is supposed to be the MJF who buries people on the mic. Instead, you're coming off as a toxic social media troll. Simple. Pretty much said he brushed over the whole Britt Baker stuff because he's pretty sure she could beat him up. Asking what's the deal with your other people's relationships. Saying, I know your fiance left you and you can't hold out a relationship, but geez. You know, talking about his body, you know, like he hasn't heard that one before. And he says, the reason you bring up my body is because of my body of work. The matches, the interviews, the world titles I've won. MJF can't touch him. And then he said, if you really want to go down that path, then how about we go backstage, we both piss in a couple cups, and then we figure out who's natural and who's not. That was unique line. And I think people will respect MJ or Adam Cole after that because, you know, people complain about his body too dang much. Just too dang much. It's like, jeez. So finally said, well, everyone backstage respects him, but says no one respects MJF backstage. And no one in the building respects him. MJF was like, oh, you don't respect me, I'll cry into all my money. Adam Cole was like, basically use MJF's catchphrase against him, saying, I'm better than you. Or he said, you won't fight me because, you know, I'm better than you. And they know it. So he started to turn his back. And then MJF got up in his face and was like, I'll fight you any day of the week. Cole was like, that boy, champ. Said, it looks like we got ourselves a match. And then finally, after being rudely interrupted, Adam Cole finally made his chant in the middle ring in front of MJF. The Adam Cole, baby. And then he left. Now, I'm a little confused and, you know, just have a question about next week because next week they announce MJF versus Adam Cole, a world title eliminator match. You know, just right out of the gates. So, just my thinking. So, right off the bat, it looks like, okay, either Adam Cole beats MJF, which is not going to happen, next week. Or someone costs Adam Cole the match, and then we possibly get a new feud there, and we revisit this MJF Adam Cole thing down the line, because it just feels confusing for it to be next week, is my only thing, if I have to say. We'll see. I mean, I like this segment. MJF needs some competition. I was curious. Maybe it'd be a wrestler from New Japan. Possibly we get Adam Cole's match for Forbidden Door. It's certainly a thought. Maybe the Jericho few days is done. We'll see. But I doubt Adam Cole beats MJF next week. So we got the Hardys and Isaiah Cassidy backstage. So Matt Hardy apparently announced that he has absorbed Ethan Page's contract, and saying now Ethan Page works for them, and saying that he can turn him to a better man and a better wrestler. So he said, well, he wanted an apology. Ethan Page to apologize to Isaiah Cassidy for apparently what happened on Rampage a couple weeks ago. So, shook hands, say a brace, saw Matt Hardy, and then Isaiah moaned in Ethan Page's ear. Why do we need this? I don't know. I honestly don't know. I mean, do I want the Hardys to get another title run? Yes. Or actually better, would I like to see it? Yes. That's the thing. I would like to see it, but I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. And then Ethan Page, the way he's floating, it's kind of odd. I don't even know what the heck's with Mark Quinn. I mean, Isaiah should be with Mark Quinn. Him on his own. I don't know. Maybe Quinn's injured. I don't know. But it's pretty odd, to say the least. So we got Hook and Jack Perry, Jungle Boy versus Preston, Vance, and dralistico. This was some crazy match. So for a tornado tag, this was hell of an outing by these four guys, I must say. I literally what happened was I went, so they were, Preston Vance and someone were brawling in the crowd. It was picture in picture. I went to get something for dinner. I come back and Preston Vance is pouring blood out of his head. I mean, I'm like, what the heck? What did I miss? And there's 2 tables set up on the outside. Hook has, I'm guessing, Vance's blood on him. Pretty barbaric match. Vance was kind of choking Hook on the top rope. And then thanks to a chair shot from Jungle Boy, Hook did like an overhead throw. And it looked like it was supposed to be a Northern Lights like suplex, like T-bone. They called it a T-bone, but it looked more like a Northern Lights. Either way, he and Vance went straight through one of the tables, and geez, that took out Vance for the rest of the match. So Jungle Boy had Dralistico down for the finish, and then Jose got in the ring, stomped on Jungle Boy, and then they were face to face. Hook popped from behind Jose, got him in the red rum. At the same time, Jungle Boy got Dralistico in the snare trap, and Dralistico tapped out. So, there you go. That was one heck of a finish and one heck of a violent match, I must say. So, going good for all parties involved. I like this. I like a more serious side of Jungle Boy. That's what we need going forward. Some people were wondering if Jack Perry may turn heel in this match. For me, he's not ready yet. He's still got a bit of ways to go, and then he could turn heel, I think. So we got Konosuke Takeshita, no music, just some blues, and time drawn. Good stuff. He's out with Don Callis against some jobber, I think Danny something. I mean, this is short and sweet. He had a running knee, 1, 2, 3. That was it. Konosuke got the victory. Afterwards, Don Callis took the microphone. Tony Schiavone was like, already, before he said anything, cut his mic off. And Taz's like, you want to cut his mic off? He hasn't said anything yet. So then, got booze. Callis said, unlike last week, I'll be heard this week. Konosuke said Kenny Omega, and then due to the subtitles, they said, well, he'll be the one to destroy Kenny Omega. Callis said, well, I'm responsible for Kenny Omega. Everything Kenny Omega is not in AEW is because of me. Him winning the world title, him being Will Ospreay because of me. What the Young Bucks have is because of me. What the Elite have in AEW is because of me. He called Kenny Omega a cancer. What you do with cancer, you cut it out. And he said with his new family, they will cut out the Elite of all Elite wrestling for good. As good as you can get. So we got Anna Jay next versus Kris Statlander. I was a little disappointed simply because we only got 2 members of the JAS this week, but arguably the 2 best in the sense, NJ and Danny Magic Matt Menard. Hilarious. He was at ringside for his match, and match was alright. You know, they're easing back Kris Statlander, I would say. But still throwing her in the fire a bit. Anyway, Kris won here. A tombstone pile driver on J. 1, 2, 3. It's just good to see Statlander back. The only thing though is these open challenges. It's lazy. It's lazy. Besides, last we saw Anna Jay on TV, she tapped out to Julia Hart in a match. No holds barred. So there's that. But yeah, good to see Statlander back, and we'll see what happens next. So apparently there'll be a 4-way women's match on Rampage to determine who will face Toni Storm next week for the women's championship between Britt Baker, Sky Blue, Nyla Rose, and Mercedes Martinez, who we haven't seen in a while. I mean, Nyla Rose lost last week to Statlander. So, I mean, a bit confusing, I would say. Anywho, so Toni Storm had a little backstage with Ruby Soho talking about her match for next week, possibly, and her reign. So, there we go. Main events. Ricky Starks versus Jay White. FTR and Juice banned from ringside. So, there you go. So, Starks took it to Jay White before the bell. This fun match. I mean, yes, Starks' momentum had. You see, it's. This feud has been on, but at the same. And it's conflicting because both need momentum. But at the same time, mostly Jay White. Because we know caliber talent he is. And he just got here. And people are complaining too much that he's buried, that he's not used right. I mean, this is what his... Well, I might as well touch up on it right now because I didn't get to it earlier. But Tony Khan announced the first main event for AEW Collision, which will be on the 17th. It will be a trios match. And the first guy, which I'm not surprised because of those complaining, Jay White, Juice Robinson, and Samoa Joe will take on CM Punk and FTR in a trios match. So right there, you got... This is Jay White's second main event match on Dynamite. His second with Ricky Starks. This is his second main event. He just got here like a couple months ago. And it will be on the first main event of Collision with FTR, Samoa Joe, and CM Punk. I mean, patience, people, patience. I don't get it. But yeah, this was a fun match. So Starks, like I said, took it to Jay White before the bell. Starks did a suplex on the outside. Back in the ring from break. Jay White managed his superplex for a near fall. Starks followed up hitting a big running lariat with a twisting DT for a near fall. Then went for a nice full Nelson slam or Uranagi for a 2. Starks then went for the Rochambeau, but Jay White got out of it, hit a big Uranagi of his own for a 2. Starks then did a big spear, fired up, went for the Rochambeau. He hit it, but one of White's legs clipped Paul Turner in the face, and the referee was down. So no one was there to count the pin. And then from out of nowhere, we see 2 guys pop up on ringside. And while Ricky goes to check on the ref, Ricky turns around and is met with a 310 to Yuma finisher by the Guns. And they hightail it. As clean as a hit run you could get. So the referee came to, and Jay White, or same with Jay White. Then he hit the Blade Runner on Starks. 1, 2, 3. And Jay White gets the victory over Ricky Starks. He celebrates with Juice Robinson. I think it's clear. Bullet Club Gold is expanding the Guns. I think that would fit nicely. The Bullet Club Gold. And I don't think it's over. I think more guys are to come. So should be good. But we'll see what happens. Yes, we didn't get more advancement of Forbidden Door, but The good news about Collision is there are 2 shows before June 25th. So, in the sense, you got 2 extra shows to promote more matches for Forbidden Door. But clearly, AEW and New Japan's on the right track. I mean, Bryan vs. Okada, Ospreay vs. Omega 2. That's a hell of a start. But we'll see, obviously, next week how things go down. And then a week from Saturday, the debut of Collision, which I'll start making reviews on Sunday. So keep in mind as for those guys. But nonetheless, that's the end of the review. If you guys remember, like, subscribe, click wherever it is. If it's here, there, get the gist. Anyways, thank you guys. Be safe. Hope you guys enjoy it. I'm Joe to Love. See you guys next week. Adios and peace.